So you might have heard about the term ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, but what does it actually mean? Like I'm sure you've heard some friend talk about it, but it doesn't really make sense to you. Like most often when people ask me, what are you doing in life? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing ERP. Like I'm sure 95% of the time nobody really knows like ERP what. So let's jump right into it and see what it actually means. So you've heard the term, but what does it actually mean? So consultants mention them, software sales people pitch them, other business owners talk about them, but you don't actually know what they are. And you're too embarrassed to ask. Well, some people are not embarrassed. But here what's worse, you need a better system for your business. Your business is growing, paper and spreadsheets are cutting it anymore. But you also heard some horror stories about people who have failed implementations. Millions of dollars were wasted, maybe not millions, but thousands, and business almost destroyed. So you're stuck. You know you need something, but you don't know what to buy or who to trust. So let me help. So let's make an example of Frank. Frank owns a construction company. He does $15 million revenue. He has 70 employees. He works 80 hours a week. Every decision runs through him, and his phone never stops. Someone told him he needs an ERP. Frank nodded, smiled, acted like he knew what that meant. Then he went home and Googled it. He found consultants, software companies, acronyms stacked on acronyms. So ERP, MRP2, ERP, CRM, WMS, MES, IMS. What are all those things? So those are like acronyms for systems that help you manage your business. ERP, MRP, CRM, etc. But it's really confusing. You're like, okay, what do I do? What is the strategy there? This is why the government subsidizes you those studies that cost you $25,000, and then they give you like a PowerPoint to tell you what to do. So usually it's pure, garbage. But yeah, if we think about like how companies actually manage themselves from the start of the time, so in the 1900s, paper and people. So factories run on paper. Someone took an order, wrote it down. Someone else checked the inventory, wrote it down. Someone scheduled production, wrote it down. The factory built the product, wrote it down. So everything on paper by hand. It worked until the businesses got bigger. More products, more orders, more people, more mistakes. Paper got lost. Numbers didn't match. Left hand didn't know what right hand was doing. So yeah, if you think about the sizes of businesses in the last century, they didn't grow to the point where we know companies like can be thousands of people. It's a completely bananas. And because before with just paper and people and the lack of communication, companies couldn't scale that much. Then computers arrived, and then computers showed up in the 60s. Big companies started using it for inventory, then production scheduling. So the MRP, material requirement planning, came up, especially in manufacturing. So they did one thing. It helped you figure out what materials you needed for your manufacturing production. And then in the 80s, they expanded it to MRP2, manufacturer resource planning. So it tracked material, production schedules, labor. It was all connected, which was great. So this helped manufacturer plan better, make smarter decision. And then in 1990s, ERP was born. So someone had a bigger idea. What's if not do for if we track already manufacturing, why not do it for everything, like sales, inventory, production, accounting, purchasing? So one system, one source of truth, everyone looking at the same number. So they called it an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. So companies like SAP and Oracle build massive systems, and they cost millions to buy and took years to install. So only big companies could afford them. That's why usually most common mortals don't know the term. So then in 2010s, everyone wanted one. So most of companies wanted to digitalize. So because software got cheaper. So smaller companies could finally afford ERP. Microsoft, NetSuite, Epicor, all offered versions for mid-sized businesses. And the pitch was simple: get an ERP, run your whole business from one place, save time, save money, grow faster. right? So thousands of companies bought in, but then what we noticed is that the promise wasn't really delivered for the whole market. So something breaks, and so the reality is like there's those statistics that 75% of ERP implementation fail, 95% now of AI implementations fail, and the average cost overrun is of 180%. So that's huge. So companies spend millions, waited for years, and end up with systems that didn't work and that people were rejecting. So there was a reason. So why those systems failed? Well, the answer is in the fact that they were generic. You know, like software was expensive, so they tried to build like a software that kind of fits as much customers as possible, but they didn't really fit anyone perfectly. So, and this is why most of the ERP fails so often, because they're generic, built for everyone, but for no one specifically. So your business has a specific way to do things, your processes, your reputation, your brand. You take pride in delivering what you want to deliver, but generic software doesn't care about that. It has a best practice of way of doing things, but you can't really change how it's done. But most importantly, it's how the market is structured. On one hand, you have the technology provider, let's say SAP or Oracle, etc. So they build the tech, they build the software, but they're not the ones who gonna do the implementation. This is why you have companies like Accenture and Deloitte and like other like boutique consulting firms. They will create those partnerships with those software vendors, and they're gonna implement those softwares in your company. So they're gonna be the experts in the people and implementation side, but they don't actually own the tech. They're just integrators. So that's how the market like kind of structured itself for the last few years, because it's very hard to have the technology and the people process under the same roof. But the reality is, they were selling those stuff with big promises to companies, but the delivery didn't really succeed. But yeah, so remember Frank, like he actually like got the same horror story. He spent like $600,000, 2 years of work, and then the system wanted him to enter data in five different ways. Every order took twice as long to process. The the interfaces like they look like this in like classic ERP. Like it's a nightmare. It doesn't look great. They're very confusing, and so usually people hate it. So his team hated it. His customer noticed delays. Yeah. So and Gartner actually, Gartner is like the big research firm, and they do some comparison on market research. They have that official statistics. Harvard Business Review says the same. So MIT said like same thing with AI nowadays. Everyone rushes is to implement some AI thing without really understanding where and why. And so most of the projects don't really generate the returns that are needed or that are expected. Because usually your process is what makes you different and what make customer choose you. So you need the system that fits you, not the other way around. So, but the good news is that in the last 5 years, things changed. Technology changed. So if you want custom right now, it's possible. In the past, it wasn't that possible, because if you wanted to build old custom, you had to start from scratch, and it would actually take years. It was very slow. It was very risky. Every feature was coded from zero. No proven components, high development costs, extended timeline. But now we have modern custom where you don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of people in open source community, so it's like people who code and share the code for free on the internet, provided enough example for the AI to actually learn how to do it. And essentially we have now access to CRM, inventory, communication, analytics, scheduling, like all the modules that you can imagine in an ERP, assembling as a Lego very quickly, and AI makes it even better. So now you can develop like fully personalized ERP system and end to end in like 90 days, because we have pre-built proven modules, custom integration layer, rapid deployment, lower risk. So the market starts to catch up to this, but still, even if you can do that, the human part still is the most important piece when it comes to developing those systems. So I think your point on my company, that's what we do. We bring the people, process, tech under the same roof. We understand your business, your language, your works, your workflows, your color systems, the way your people work, and we help you digitize, then orchestrate your work, and then decouple your productivity. So that's pretty much the idea of where we are right now in the market. And so yeah, I think about it in a very easy way. You need three things. First, something that fits your process, not the other way around. Then make sure that your team uses it and has data migrated it, and like the interfaces are built based on their liking, and that we don't force you to learn those 50,000 buttons in this generic system. And then make it own it for you, because if you own the system, you own the data, you own the code, you're not locked in, you're not a hostage to a tech provider, and then you can actually iterate very quickly and adjust at the speed of thought the mechanics and what is actually done for your business. So that's what we did for multiple customers, like Frank. So we built his system in 90 days. I don't know why this save and it pops up. Anyway, the system handles the rest. Okay, I know that I'm writing in Canadian English. Anyway, so yeah, Frank's now works way less, not 80 hours, just 45 hours per week. He now takes vacations, and his business runs without him as a bottleneck. So in the end, what do you need to know? An ERP. What is an ERP? It's a system that tracks everything in your business: sales, inventory, production, accounting, all connected. So from lead to cash, all your value chain. But here's what matters more. Generic ERP fails very often, so you have to be careful with those systems. Actually, this is very scary and often can be intimidating as a decision. I know it. It's a big investment usually. It's a big change. So this is where creating that trust and that confidence in someone who actually did it multiple times and has a great track record of execution, and that creates an offer that gives you enough guarantee of success is super important. And so that's what we propose to you. We built that custom system for you because technology changes, and now it's possible to do those stuff. And if you wonder, but I don't know anything about technology, etc., honestly, don't worry. It's finding professionals who know how to code a software is very easy nowadays. There's millions and millions of developers. The most important part is to choose a tool they are familiar with, and that's what we do. JavaScript, Python, those are the things that like millions of developers know, and our company is here to stay, and it's been operating for a long time. So if you want to speak with us about this topic, go in the description of this video, book a call with us, and it would be great to discuss your specific reality of your business and how we could help. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. See you in the next one, and subscribe to the channel.